and I thought that you knew what you were doing, and you thought I knew what I was doing, and neither of us know what we're doing or what the other person is doing for that matter. Element of it that needs to be considered also. And that is the fact that neither of you know what you're doing.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You know, what Minister Terrell was just talking about was a dominance power trip dynamic. But what if there's just ignorance all around? Okay. What if we've got the blind leading the blind?
Right.
In a situation. And I think that that's also something that needs to be considered, because if neither of us know, if the blind are leading the blind, they'll both end up in a ditch, you know. And I thought that you knew what you were doing, and you thought I knew what I was doing, and neither of us know what we're doing or what the other person is doing for that matter. And that also creates this rift in the marriage that can definitely lead to divorce, because I trusted you with the money. I thought you knew what you were doing. And now here we are getting ready to get, you know, here the sheriffs are knocking at the door talking about y'all got to go.
Oh God.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And I say that, and I know we laugh at it, but I know a couple that this happened to, where they thought their finances was in a certain place. You know, each one of them thought the other person was managing this, that, or the other, and they weren't communicating about it. And neither of them were handling it. And literally the sheriffs came to the door to put them out. And so these kinds of things, if they're not handled properly, if they're not managed properly, can definitely lead to a breakdown of the trust in a relationship, in a marriage, and definitely lead to divorce. You know, but I think the key thing with all of it is getting the education and making sure that you guys are on the same page.
Yeah. And just to that point, again, when you said that neither one know what they're doing, yes, that's why you want to have financial literacy classes. That's why you want to have people who do know what they're doing to set you up so that you're going to be successful. And that I have the same stories that you said when there's overspending. Minister Terrell just mentioned something about our companies, and we can look at the footprint, what they do. I don't care what company you're for, if it's Fortune 500, if it's Apple, if it's Google, whoever it is, a mom and pop startup, they all have a budget. They all have a budget. And it's a reason why they have a budget. You have a budget because you don't just have an open checkbook. Because if you have an open checkbook, then there's going to be chapter 13 follow behind it. So you want to make sure that you have a budget, and not just having a budget, but you are adhering to your budget. So that means that, guess what? You're going to have to die to self. So if it's someone who likes to shop, so they need to take a check. If there's someone who likes to do extra things, whether it's going out frequently, if you're going out to dinner, those things can add up if you were used to doing those things. Yep. But not only do you have to have a budget, but you got to adhere to that budget, and you guys got to agree upon it. And that budget got to be monitored by each one's finances. That's what dictate the budget. So what we're bringing in, and I'm not talking about gross, I'm talking about net. What we're bringing in is going to determine what our budget is going to be.
Yeah. You know, let me just add one piece to this, and it's something that I just thought about. And it's not something that we necessarily talk about regularly, but I'm just going to kind of piggyback off of Minister Sidney. When you're doing your budget and you got your line items and you've got that open communication with your spouse, I think one of the things that you need to add to your line items is how much are you paying yourself? I think it's important that we consider that we work as hard as we do for what we have to provide for our families, to make sure that everybody has food, everybody has shelter, everybody has clothes. But a lot of times we are not a part of the budget. Right. And this is the reason why we overspend or we underspend when it comes to ourselves. I think it's important that we have something within our budgets that says, okay, this is my allowance. This is how much I'm getting within reason, of course. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's because that's going to make you feel better about what you're working for, that you're not just working to pay bills. You're not just working to buy groceries. You're not just working to put clothes on back, but you're working with this idea in mind that I'm working toward a goal deliberately. I'm not just doing this happenstance. I'm not just doing this accidentally, but I'm doing this deliberately. And the other thing too is that we need to consider too, you know, the later years. the retirement years, making sure that we're saving up enough money for those years when we don't want to work anymore, so that we have enough to live off of. So again, when you're doing your budget, put yourself in the budget so that you know what you're spending.
Hey, man, I totally agree with that. And I would just piggyback on what you're saying, Pastor Adam, is because you also, it's biblical to have savings and to leave your children something. It is biblical to do that. And so if we're not budgeting, if we're spending everything that we, our income, all of our income, then what are we doing with our finances that God has given us, right? Let's just call it what it is. You're disrespecting God because you want to live, you want to do you. You want to do you. And we got to stop, let me use the right word. We got to stop playing with the church and people as if you're just wrong if you're not saving your money properly, if you're not managing your money properly, and you have a wife and you have a family. Rainy days will happen. Jesus said it. Mm-hmm. Problems will come. Trouble will come. He said it. It's gonna come. It's gonna come. So we don't have the excuse no more to act as if, oh, I got the money in the account, so that immediately means that I can pay for whatever it is I want to buy. There's a difference between afford and be able to purchase. Big difference. Big difference. And, clickbait right now, you can, you got this Amazon.com, and I'm not knocking Amazon, but you can buy stuff really quickly and it shows up really fast at the door. And you wind up buying all this stuff, but you can't pay your rent with Nikes and you can't pay your mortgage with food. And so, I think it's at a point where we got to stop playing. Stop acting, stop living in this ignorance as if you don't know that you could lose your job. This is not the age where people can stay at a job for 30 and 40 years and get this pension and retire now and be taken care of for the remainder of their life. Those days are gone. Right. Those days are gone.
That's very good. Could I add on to something to that? I'm just thinking about something. And I think every one of you all and those who are viewing us will be able to understand this. And I hope what I'm about to say helps somebody. Also, pay your life insurance also.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pay your life insurance. The worst thing that I can ever think about doing is not having adequate life insurance, where if something happened to me, then you leave your spouse in a bad situation.
Right.
Nothing worse I can think of.
Let me interject right there, Minister Thurman, for a second, just so that you three gentlemen will know that if something happened to y'all, we are not doing a fish fry for y'all funeral service.
Don't you do it?
No GoFundMes. We're not gonna do a GoFundMe.
We're
gonna give your wives $500 and say have that joker cremated, and that'll be that.
I'm fine with that.
Just so you know, because I've had to do this for the 3 times in the last 2 years. It's $1,400 now. It's the $500 cremations don't happen no more.
Wow.
We're giving 5.
You can get that with 11,
and they're gonna have to figure out the rest.
Yeah.
So we'll get $250 from Social Security.
All right, Mr. Thurman, I apologize for interrupting.
But he's right though, right? $250 for Social Security.
And so within that, make sure that you're getting adequate insurance. So make sure that your coverage don't lapse because you've not paid it. Make sure you're paying it so you can set your spouse up. Not that they can live a lavish lifestyle, but they don't have that burden on them.
Exactly.
Again, there's nothing worse than knowing that you passed away and now your wife, she got to sell everything that you guys worked so hard for. So somebody out there listening, please make sure that you have your significant other, your spouse, on some type of life insurance, please.
Yeah, Nike's gonna be gone.
Hey guys, it's Pastor John here. Please, if you like this video that you just saw, hit that like button for us. Second thing I want to ask you to do is to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're putting out videos once a day at about 5:30 p.m. Hit that bell notification so that you'll know when a new video has been uploaded. And then the final thing to do, share this video, share this information. If you know somebody that has a need that it can be benefited by it, please put it out in circulation so that we can try to help as many people as possible. Thanks, and God bless.